All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are putting your home's heating and cooling systems to the ultimate stress test. And to do that, we're heading to the brutal extremes of West Allis, Wisconsin. You know, if you've ever found yourself wondering why your furnace decides to just completely give up and die on literally the absolute coldest night of the year, well, you're in the right place. Consider this your official HVAC survival guide.
So, the big question right off the bat, can your home actually survive the freeze and sweat cycle? Listen, we aren't just talking about a mild, pleasant shift in seasons here. No way. We have to really ask if your equipment is genuinely prepared to battle an environment that actively punishes mechanical systems all year round. In this kind of area, systems that would hum along perfectly fine in milder climates, they will fail incredibly fast if they aren't properly prepared for what's coming.
Just think about the sheer contrast we're dealing with here. On one hand, you have these brutal, sub-zero winter nights where temperatures plummet below zero for weeks on end, basically forcing your furnace to run nonstop just to keep you from freezing. And then flip the script to the exact opposite end of the spectrum. Sweltering summer days hitting 90% humidity. Your AC isn't just cooling the air at that point, it's practically working overtime to wring out thick, heavy moisture from your entire house. This massive swing, that's the freeze and sweat cycle, and it pushes everyday equipment absolutely to the breaking point. Now, West Allis housing presents some unique, century-old architectural challenges. Because here's the thing, extreme weather is really only half the battle. The local housing stock adds this massive layer of historical complexity to your mechanical systems. I mean, think about it. When you try to force modern, high-efficiency airflow through structures built way before central air conditioning was even a thought, you're going to hit some major roadblocks.
Actually, different historical neighborhoods present their own highly specific and honestly pretty predictable architectural nightmares. Let's look at the Honey Creek area, with homes mostly from the 1920s to the 60s. You'll often find original ductwork in those places, ducts that were literally never designed for modern central air, which causes massive airflow restrictions. Then, head down to the low-lying areas in the Menominee River Valley. Here, basement foundations are constantly battling groundwater intrusion. We're talking about water literally threatening to flood mechanical rooms and wreck furnaces just sitting on the floor. And over in West Milwaukee Heights, those mid-century ranch homes frequently suffer from undersized return air systems. It basically chokes your system's efficiency because the poor thing just can't breathe.
So what happens when you mix that brutal weather with aging houses? You end up with a predictable list of common HVAC casualties. We're talking cracked furnace igniters from the constant thermal cycling, expanding and contracting over and over. You get failed heat exchangers thanks to condensation buildup. And remember those undersized ducts choking airflow we just talked about? That leads directly to frozen evaporator coils, the literal part that chills your air. Plus, blower motors and contactor relays just burn out from constant use. And the worst part? These casualties always seem to hit exactly when you need comfort the most, right in the middle of a sub-zero freeze or a nasty heat wave. Because these specific dangers are so real, strict local building codes step in as the law of the land. Local building departments strictly enforce these rules for a reason. Doing an installation the wrong way in this kind of extreme climate isn't just inefficient, it's a massive liability to your family's safety. Take Category 4 venting as a prime example. High-efficiency condensing furnaces absolutely demand this exact mandatory protocol. It requires specific plastic piping with highly precise slopes for condensate drainage. And why is that so important? Well, because incorrect pipe slopes during a deep freeze can actually lead to backdrafting, meaning instead of safely venting outdoors, your system could pump deadly carbon monoxide directly into your living space. So yeah, that code, it is literally there to prevent a fatal catastrophe. And when it's time to actually choose the equipment, the pros rely on manual J-load calculations. This isn't just a ballpark guess. It's a highly precise measurement that factors in your home's insulation, the size of your windows, which direction your house faces, and of course, that harsh local climate data. Simply guessing what size furnace you need based purely on your home's square footage, that is a guaranteed recipe for failure. If the system is too big, it short cycles and wastes tons of energy. But if it's too small, it won't keep you warm when that cold snap hits. It has to be an exact mathematical fit. Okay, but what about when systems break? This is the professional rescue playbook, because you have to know what happens when the stress test finally defeats your system and you need to call in the local experts. You absolutely need a playbook for when your heat cuts out at 2 a.m. on Christmas morning or your AC completely dies on a 95-degree July afternoon. Professional repair actually follows a really straightforward 3-step process to eliminate the chaos and stress. Step 1, contact and dispatch.
You need a same-day response from technicians rolling up in fully stocked trucks. Because let's face it, waiting 3 days for a part while shivering under blankets is just not an option. Step 2, diagnosis and approval. They find the actual root cause, not just treating the symptom, and give you upfront, flat-rate pricing so you aren't blindsided by the bill. And finally, step 3, testing and follow-up. They measure the temperatures and airflow through full cycles to guarantee your home is actually back to a safe, comfortable temperature before they leave. Now, let's get into the insider rulebook for homeowner survival. If you want to protect your wallet and your machinery from these extremes we've been talking about, you are going to want to memorize these next few rules. The very first number to lock in is 5,000. We call this the $5,000 rule. It's a super simple formula to help you figure out whether to repair or replace a broken system. Here's how it works. You just multiply the age of your system by the cost of the quoted repair. If that number goes over $5,000, replacing the whole unit usually makes way more financial sense. So, say you have a 12-year-old furnace and the repair bill is $500. 12 times 500 is $6,000. In a climate that actively destroys aging equipment, sinking money into an old unit instead of upgrading to a new, efficient one just doesn't make sense. Next up is the 3-minute rule, and this one is specifically for your AC. Always wait at least 3 full minutes before restarting an AC unit that just shut off. It sounds minor, right? But this brief delay is incredibly important. It allows the refrigerant pressure to equalize throughout the entire system. If you force that compressor to start against high pressure by turning it right back on instantly, you cause massive electrical stress. Seriously, just remembering this simple 3-minute pause can save your incredibly expensive compressor from totally frying. And you definitely can't forget the 2-foot rule. You absolutely have to maintain at least 2 feet of total clearance all the way around your outdoor condenser unit. I mean it. Keep it completely free from landscaping bushes, tall grass, patio furniture, and especially those giant winter snowdrifts. Airflow is basically the lifeblood of your HVAC system. If you suffocate that air intake with vegetation or snow, you're killing its efficiency and pretty much guaranteeing it'll overheat and die way before its time. Finally, let's talk about the 15 to 20-year reality. 15 to 20 years is the realistic lifespan you can expect from a system that is actively fighting the brutal extremes of the freeze and sweat cycle every single day. Sure, furnaces might lean a bit closer to 15 or 18 years, and AC units might tap out around 12 to 15, but the reality is, systems running year-round in this intense climate take a serious beating. Now, regular maintenance can absolutely help you reach the top end of that range, but just knowing this timeline, it helps you plan for a replacement on your terms, rather than waiting for a catastrophic breakdown right in the middle of peak season. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to really ask yourself, is your system genuinely ready to survive the next extreme season? We've seen exactly how brutal winters and humid summers can absolutely wreck ill-prepared machinery. Apply that $5,000 rule, go clear out that 2-foot perimeter, and please don't wait for a 2 a.m. breakdown to finally take action. Because at the end of the day, the most expensive HVAC system isn't the newest one with all the bells and whistles, it's the one you neglect until it totally fails. So, what hidden stresses are quietly compromising your home's comfort right now? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive.